I heard a recording the other night. I wasn't sure if it was the Holy Spirit or not. Son, there's a few moments in life where I'm going to have to remind you of something, as I put on reading glasses in front of him for the first time. Sagrado Empress, and it came from a tarot card that I pulled up this morning. Bottomless this morning, you fills love's hole inside. Seeing eyes to emotion, emotion, love, love to words. That is the love that I name, singing my love in. It is a song. I am alone in love. I love you. Alone. Yes, alone. Alone. Worship for you. Seeing eyes to emotion. Emotion, love. Love to words. That is the love that I name. Singing my love in. It is a song. I am alone in love. I love you. I love you. I love you. Seeing eyes to emotion. Emotion. Love. Love to words. That is the love I name, singing my love in. It is a song. I am alone in love. I love you. Love, American Poeta, and with much love to the basis of all Lunetry, which began in 1999, to the great Charles Bukowski. Hi, family. I love you very much. Thanks, Sacred Grounds.
Bill, here are your glasses.
Or my, yes, Stephanie, my eyes.
Hi, Stephanie. Your eyes.
Voice. Rivers of ink have been spilled on whether to use the poetic mediums, you know, rhythm, rhyme, stanzas, or not. But I had an experience a few years ago that settled it definitively. So, here it is. It's called The Power of Rhyme. As I settle into my booth and get ready to order, I notice two men in the next booth intensely engrossed in their conversation. One man, shoulders slumped, arms on the table, holding his drink with both hands. He is staring down into his drink intensely, as though into a crystal ball. His head bobs, almost imperceptibly, in a gesture of submission. The other man, body wound up like a cobra, spits out staccato words in staggered rhythm. How could you do this behind my back after all I've done for you? What do you think you deserve? What do you think I should do to you for this? Man with his drink clutches his drink even tighter, stares down into the crystal ball depths, desperately looking for the miracle answer. Then in a low voice he says, "Do you like cocaine?" At this moment they suddenly notice me eavesdropping, an unwelcome intruder into their little world of guilt, punishment, and illegal substances. The man quickly repeats himself. "I said, do you like Mark Twain?"
Thank you, Bill.
Oh, here's your eyes back.
Eyes. His eyes, my eyes, no surprise. Okay, Matt, then Owen, then Richard, then Zach, then Ann, then Kenara, then Elaine McGillicuddy.
Yep.
Elaine McGillicuddy.
Just check.
Matt? Hi. Welcome.
Is this your first time here?
Yes, it is.
All right, Matt.
All right, can you make it loud, people? It's our first timer. Ah!
I was going over what I had in 5 minutes, and this is like a little over 5 minutes rehearsed, so I'm going to go.
Go for it. That's fun. We approve.
The listener. They're all just thinking about what they want to say next, he thought, as he sat by himself at the bar. He was meeting a friend to play a game of pool. He began to write down his thoughts on the back of a long receipt. "Oh, he knows all about paper products," one of the pair across from him interjected. "They're full of themselves," he thought pessimistically. "Receipt rolls totally changed the paper industry," the other guy added. "He works in paper." He asked about the company that makes the paper for money. "It's one of those stationery invitation companies. Crane & Co., the paper expert said. The listener looked inside the bar and saw his friends enter. She began to talk to an elderly, bearded fellow with a Vietnam vet baseball cap. She looked over to the listener, then brought the vet with her toward the back. She stopped and motioned to the listener. 1 second. She walked up to the pool board and added her name to the board. "Hey, how are you?" the player asked the listener. The player gave him a warm hug. "Hey, this is Frenchie," she introduced the vet. "Estoy borracho," Frenchie told the player. They spoke back and forth in Spanish. "Je m'appelle," began the listener to Frenchie. Frenchie responded with much more French than the listener understood. The player spoke in Spanish. "You understand the French?" Frenchie asked the listener. "Un peu?" The listener responded. It was in fact way more un peu than Frenchie took him for. Frenchie spoke to him in elegant French, slightly slurred monologue. The listener wondered what he'd said. "I'm French Colombian," Frenchie began, luckily for the listener in English. "You want to smoke?" the player asked the listener. "Sure." He took the cigarette and lit it up. "Estoy borracho," Frenchie repeated Frenchie to the player. The player looked at both of them, and she laughed out loud. "You're up." A guy inside came up to the player. "You playing?" he asked her. "Yeah, let me finish this smoke. I'll be right in." Frenchie wobbled. The player looked at them both. The listener smoked his cigarettes. "Come in and watch me play?" "Sure," replied the listener, and they all walked inside. The player rapped, and the listener stood observing the scene. Frenchie walked up to the listener. He said something in French, then Spanish. The listener picked up a few of the phrases. "Que dijiste?" he asked. "I said happy Friday. I thought you knew French," she asked. "Only a little, enough to ask for directions and drink when I went to France." He paused. "Happy Friday. Cheers." He raised his glass. Frenchie smiled, then they cheered and drank. "I was in Vietnam," he started. He looked at the listener who was giving him his attention. "Oh yeah?" he asked. "When you get your fatigues, they put your last name on them. And a guy in my squad pointed out my last name and said, 'What the hell is that, a venereal disease?' From that day on, I've been known as Frenchie." The listener laughed a little. "That was over 30 years ago," Frenchie continued. "You know, my grandfather was a prisoner in a concentration camp during World War II. The listener offered his connection to the experience. There was so much he could tell about it. "I call him all the time and ask about his experience." "Have you ever been in wartime?" Frenchie asked. "No, I haven't," the listener returned. They glared at the pool table for a moment. The player made an impressive bank shot. "People don't understand what it's like," Frenchie began in a somber tone. I didn't want to go to war. I was just a kid. I didn't know what I was doing. The listener looked him in the eyes as he spoke. When I came back from the war, people were on the streets yelling at me. They were throwing things at me. I was just a kid. Frenchie's eyes began to well up with tears. The listener heard the clack of a cue hitting another ball, then the familiar sound of the ball sinking into a hole. I'm sorry, I don't want to bother you with this, Frenchie said. He took a step back as if to walk away. It's okay, the listener replied. He reached out and put his arm on Frenchie's shoulder. He looked at the listener with his well-lit eyes. I started going to therapy. I'm sitting around with a bunch of other people, and I get to hear what they felt, what they went through. That's what I felt, Frenchie told the listeners. His eyes welled up more. I was just a kid. I didn't know what was happening to me. Frenchie was in tears. The player missed a shot, then danced her way across the pool table, nudging the listener. She noticed Frenchie, then backed away and returned her focus on the game. For 30 years, I threw away everything I owned that tied me to the war. I didn't want anything to do with it. My therapist says I should be open with it and accept it. That's why I'm wearing this hat today. Frenchie was in tears. It's the first time in 30 years that I've accepted what I did. The listener looked at Frenchie, who returned his gaze. The listener could feel the pain, the suffering being released by Frenchie. Thank you, he said. If it weren't for you, the protesters wouldn't have the freedom to be there. I'm sorry for what happened to you. You've made our country a better place. He gazed into Frenchie's eyes. Thank you. Frenchie seemed like he was going to begin weeping. The listener moved forward and embraced Frenchie. Thank you, he repeated. Player won her game, pool. Want to smoke? She asked. Sure, replied the listener. They went out on the patio for a smoke. Heavy thoughts filled the listener's mind. You okay? The player asked. Yeah, I'm okay, the listener responded somberly. They smoked a cigarette in a little pot. All the while, thoughts of Frenchie filled his mind. They went back. The listener watched as Frenchie played the player. He was in fact quite tipsy, but the player showed him a good time through game. The listener watched Frenchie, noting how much she enjoyed the game. He noted particularly how Frenchie flirted with the player after she made a good shot. I'll get you next time when I'm not drunk, Frenchie half joked, half challenged the player. I gotta take off, the listener said to the player. Oh, one more game? The player asked. I got a pregnant wife at home. That needs tending to, he replied. Okay, she said with a warm hug. Tell your wife I said hi. The listener stood to watch a few more shots. As he observed the scene from across the room, he watched Frenchie smile, dancing with his partner to the jukebox tunes. He thought about all he told him while watching him. He was filled with hope. All right, I gotta go, the listener told the player. Take care. The listener left. He missed his wife, but he knew he'd been privy to profound conversation. I better write this down, he thought as he left into the night.
Thank you, man. Do come back if you would like. That'd be fun.
Yeah, that would be great.
That'd be good to
Thanks.
hear. All right. Owen, then Richard, then Zach, then Ann, then Kenara. Alistair Crowley and Margaret Meade.
Duet. They're a lovely couple.
Lovely couple. They're busy decomposing.
I know. That was the best. That was the best.
These are some old poems, but I'll read them. And then, everybody hear me?
So far, yeah.
All right. Poems. Only the chatting midnight rain beats down from its sultry showers, berates a unicorn upon its sultry towers, chimes from its nocturne time and again, wetting its lips upon my eaves of pain. Its cold branches tell of the hours. Laughter and lust become ill. Sours the bleak covenant we call the sea. Gods and princesses all beget a nimby-voiced, goat-bearded boy. Odysseus set sail, we never sat along their passions and penance. Destroy the harp of plenty we pluck. Through the day standing, bid the sun adieu.
Oh.
The magic cry of flocks of red doves, crying as swallows of evening cry aghast to the tears of my noisy evening. Sun above, cry the saraband, a cove to our sober days, the sky of red doves that dazes. Why should not our beautiful daisies rove as only the most blithe spirit can, or should say the top man, or else she weeps to her wraith-like lusty foretopman. Maybe the earth will rot asunder, rocks fall like gaunt pebbles from the sky, earth mocks. Royster, folly roll, sing we sup, we sing in our cups, we dance to this. Promise to bring us the waves and waters of our dark Savior. We love passion's need for forever Hosanna. Rebus, blow the horn. Blow the empty heart of reality into eternity. The starry ghost, the sudden rain, to make the sky sick to us like the roving night, pouring your lips into the light between my eyes and yours. In Lazarus. Here in the focus of destiny, looking out to the wide sea, the caucus of clouds that blanket the sky. Above, beyond the dull day this April, about the ways and realms we all who spout quietly the stolid verses that are. Love, what our vanity wanders in. Doves, white and lily pink, soar like pilgrims. Stout but fragile are raison d'etre does fly out of the cages we have set for it. Trap of doom, the sky, the sky of reason and trust. We adore love, the reason, the seasons that hope desperately for the ways that care. We grope. Palm Sunday, 2006. Branches quiet as the rest, nothing. My eyes are closed. The 33 bus journeyed much as our Savior upon the ass of Hosanna. The 33 bus, the Paraclete, 18th Street, the gay bars, the strut of manna, Renoir-like bourgeoisie, wisely drinking cognac, murmur their wisdom of glory and atonement. Spring Abad. Eerie leaves rustle the earth in the wind's blithe awakening, the wilds of the voices, the Trieste, the orange night, the clash of distance on a Sunday afternoon, the missed appointments, the imperfect sunlight, the messed up afternoons. Alive now meow. A cat rests upon the day's end. The windowsill, the large clouds of the year's abandonment to sacrifice. The continuance of the day's hymn to madness and quietude. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Dunkel. Thank you. Okay, then I always try to keep people ahead in the prize, so we have Richard, Zach, Ann, Kenara, Clyde, and then myself. So Richard is coming up now. Give him a nice round. Come on, give this guy a round.
I gave up drinking.
I started.
Well, somebody my age, a Vietnam vet, just started drinking himself, so, and he was never a drinker before that. So.
Wow.
Well, anyway, I just want to let you know that all empires are gilded in gold before the fall. So
Yeah, you might have seen
it's going to go.
Okay.
All right. Well, I'm going to start with a new one. It's called Willie the Sheik and His Play. Pain and deep despair in the land, a William Shakespeare play of madness, deceit. Know the eagle's wing is broken and the gardens are not growing right or ripe in their time. Flora and fauna move north and south to survive or die. Life in the seas live in warmer and more acidic waters. The Hopi prophesies the end of the fifth world. The scientists have concluded we are now at the edge of the sixth extinction. Ugly politics are being ignored, believing that it will go away and do no harm by not participating. If true, we should be in utopia. Instead, there are those left with the taste of sour and bitter sadness. In my country, my presidents are nothing but real estate agents, who in the end, along with the black robes and their preacher offsprings, have raped the native people and the lands for thought and money, and now give them saints in return.
Come on.
Woolley the Sheikh wrote his play of Macbeth many centuries ago, spoke of evil in the land. Their gardens, their gardens were all knotted and would not grow. Looks like evidently I've lost a page of my poem. Well, the printer really screwed up on this, not just me. Okay, well, we'll move on to the part. By the time evil came in full bloom, when they came to this continent, the presidents and their people had done their best at their worst. It is live evil, evil live. Wake up from your nightmare. This time has come once again to confront and speak to power. We've been ugly so long that we forgot what ugly is. Macbeth, alive, purging, killing, ignoring. He has played many roles through our centuries, and now he resides in the new empire. Everyone wants to thank me for my service, and all I want to do is weep. I know the cost of empire. It sent me to do the killing, and it wants me to forget. As good citizens, we're all supposed to forget. But the damage done to humans, the flora and the fauna, and the scars laid on the earth will never let us forget. Macbeth lied, so do our presidents and leaders. We have Boner of Orange and the Turtle of the Senate, long on age but very little wisdom, and both keen in the art of deception. This is what we get from empire. Wake up from your long slumber.
Yes.
Yeah.
I got so many I couldn't read, but I'll keep it short. Well, here's one of my prayers, and I'm not a God person, but this is called Crying Wind. After traveling underground, I arise into the light. I hear the chaos of our lives, but underneath the sound of a drum, the heartbeat of pain, passion racing. The escalator pushes me off. I turn and I see the drummer. Aged by the street, this sad-eyed native with the blues, chants, and drums that drives the dancer. This aboriginal dancer dances from past memory, drowned in alcohol, fueled by fury. This dance was his protection. He bobs, weaves, hands pump, eyes jab, eyes blacker than the deepest cave. Long black hair blows into his face, sticking to his skin. Divorced from himself as well as his people, he dances among the Americans with their manifest destiny eyes, only see just another couple of drunken Indians. I know this dancer. He would pick a fight so he could feel something, anything, even if it was filled with hurt. His name was Crying Wind, and this is how he lived. I will truly never know all the things that drove him to this, but I do know this man was robbed. There is a story where one character who complains about all the drunk Indians. The other answers that maybe he ought to be glad that they're all drunk. Imagine what would happen if they all got sober. And I so long for that day. Well, I'll do something that changed my style of writing and helped me on my way. I will tell you a little postscript so you know what I'm talking about. If I say Aboriginal from Turtle Island, and I'm speaking of the original people, and Turtle Island is what some Native people call North America. Sacred hoop is, of course, for some Native people's beliefs, is the sacred circle, 4 colors of humanity, Father Sky, Mother Earth, and the 4 directions. It's called waiting. It was the African who turned me on. It was the Aboriginal from Turtle Island that gave me my art. It was the European that gave me my sorrow. It was the American who sent me to war and tried to keep me ugly. It was the Vietnamese who gave me forgiveness. May I forgive myself. Come back to the hoop. The elders are still waiting.
That was Richard, boy. We'll have to talk. We'll talk in just a minute after a while. So we have Zach, Ann, Kenara, Clyde, myself, Cesar, then Garrett before our feature. So Zach has an upcoming CD and book, right? And he's going to be featuring here at some point when that's organized. We'll do a sort of a book celebration party. There's some chairs over here.
Yeah, I'm working on a solo album right now. It's going to be a little bit though, so a couple, 2 or 3 months probably before it's going to be all done. I was going to read a poem today though first. I found this in my notebook and I'm not sure what it means. I hope this one is for meditating on. The greatest things of life are because of their relationship to the worst. To be too close to prosperity is to hurt. The ocean's whisper to traveling ears is Poseidon's mermaid, song of the tide, ever changing its harmonies with each brush of the shore. To a beach house, the ocean's chorus is static, a running water faucet, nothing more. A city is brilliant invention, neon culture, decadence, sprawling and precision, a light circus hive of momentum, communication, and drama. It is the human play of finales. Though to its dweller it is a tomb, suffocation of debris and chaos. It is inertia's impossibility. So too is love, an eclipse of the mundane by miraculous companionship, distance regulating the dance, pulsing lonely intervals into the vein of exuberance, revitalizing charm and prosperity, a reflection of serendipity by the surface of undertones.
Oh.
And then I guess if I have enough time, I'll do a song. This is actually the newest song that's going to be on the album. Wrote this about a month ago. They say it's the modern age. They say it's the modern age. Racism is old. The white man is down with it, or pretends to be closer to accepting the fact the black man is his equal, pays lip service to prejudices and evil. We're talking Uncle Tom's on the TV screen, Uncle Sam in the back, pulling the strings and sporting fresh pressed suits, not the bleach white tees that stain red from the fury of Ferguson police. It seems we need some unity, like the Queen Latifah said. Instead of liquor stores keeping our children fed, black men committing crime is all you see in the news. So take a swig of the 40, cause there ain't acres of mules. It's all about chasing paper, fat rims and jewels, while the corporate labels are plaguing us for fools. And play the kings like the melody mute racial inequality. Play the kings, black next to white, never see no zero without its stripes. Play the kings for the brother locked up in solitary. Play the kings, black next to white, never see no zero without its stripes. Stand on the corner with your friends, it's a gang of the opposite, but not if it's skinheads and you're waving a swastika like you just can't win, and it's a constant mind trip. Profile like Facebook, running like a sinus infection. From the Department of Corrections, they got a complaint, they got a box of suggestions, and nobody reads. Well, they get off scot-free, shooting unarmed men in the back for wearing their baggy jeans, like Oscar Grant, Alex Nieto, and Michael Brown, and they blaming you all for violence if you make the slightest sound. Play the kings, let the melody mute racial inequality. Play the kings, black next to white, never see no zero without its stripes. Play the kings, for the brother locked up in solitary. Play the kings, black next to white, never see no zero without its stripes. I be like the communist Jew that wrote strange fruit. John Brown resurrected in the studio booth to stop these corporate cats that act like John Wilkes Booth. Putting a noose on the souls of the youth. There's proof that love runs deeper than any complexion, like Malcolm X after his journey to Mecca. The first step is to recognize the people's oppression, to break the ties that bind me to my ancestors' aggression. To recognize this music, it's linked to the past. Hip-hop is blues, rock, soul, and jazz. It's the sound of the voice of the enslaved that have passed. It's the ghosts and the spirits rocking chains with the claps, waiting for the day of economic slavery's collapse. They communicate through us, the conduits that study raps, like Robert Johnson of the modern day. Beyond the grave, from the sax of the horns and his segregated stage in the 30s nightclubs to the summer of love. It's Jimi Hendrix rocking Woodstock. It's Michael Jackson's glove. It's Grandmaster Melly Mel and Run DMC. Music is the medium through which they speak. And that's why we play the keys, let the melody mute racial inequality. Play the keys, black next to white, never seen no zebra without its stripes. Play the keys for the brother locked up in solitary. Play the keys, black next to white, but you never see no zebra without its stripes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Hot time in the old town tonight. All right. Speaking of hot times in the old town tonight, we have Ann coming up now. Where are you, Ann? Ann Leonard. Give her a nice big round. We have Tara, Clyde, myself, and John C. McDermott.
Well, I get to read out of a book tonight. You know, I feel like really excited about that. Poets 11, the grand finale was Sunday, so I'm still excited about the poem that I read on Sunday, and I only see one of you here who was in that audience, so I think most of you won't be too bored by it. It's called Broadway Hill Bohos. Red and green parrots burst from Senora de Guadalupe's eucalypti at Broadway Tunnel hilltop, flocking crazy zigzags across the sky in noisy fall apart come together above church school gates, a shrieking crush of children bouncing laughter up, up, up. Hillside steps suffuses my descent past old flowing beard billy goat boho in shirtless cloud of funky sex musk, pegging biku stick in path to sun. His horny eyes' attention all on my tank top breast slows the moment, but breaking in a sudden eclipse, boho number 2, Chinese twin-pointed graybeard cloaked in biku muteness, wearing black wrapped shades, pushes bicycle up, handlebars tied with twin pink plastic bags, Powell Street takeout on one side for aging mother, found cans for quarters the other, bearing his burden home. My eyes telescoping worn buildings, cakewalk down either side of the street, the slot, Broadway's long skip and slip, to sweep of bridge and bays, hills, crimped rise, the keyhole sky, the key slides down the slot, tumblers spin, my hand is on the key, arc of rays hit, Bovia centralis, macula lutea, the key in the keyhole, it's me I see, telescope down the slot, opening, walking, projecting, film strip of cellular light bodies pasted to face front, a box of light lit from circuits of somewhere, creating from tunnel to bay, face full of Broadway, eye full of being, bronze filigree tunnel mouse, river of sounds, of school buses, taxis, motorcycles running up through me, Campo, HK, greasy spoon, sip bar and lounge, red lights, green lights, ocean pearl restaurants, gray foam, sidewalks, scrub brushes, punctuating traffic, great men trading, lucky star discount, we do-si-do, casino billboard, hot slots, gushing crazy sevens, floating Ben Franklin's, uphill and down, HK Anna, hair and beauty, bling bling cosmetics, Pet Central TVBI, we all go do-si-do, Broadway dim sum, Ping Yuen projects, in a lazy reel, the Sam Wong Hotel, Big Elves, the Condor, crosswalk to crosswalk, in Garden of Eden, flashing neon taste of paradise, millions and billions, kaleidoscopic human peddling, street cloud of oyster sauce, of flourage, all graffiti, vegetable trucks from here to Shanghai, red wall of double-decker, fire engine howl, deep horn blast, all doing the street corner do-si-do, diesel engines huffing, crossing Broadway forever, the hum of creation, seeing it all flying out of time, not even seeking yet, picked up by serpent's tail, carried in a flick of movement, yes, the outflowing and convergence, fusing movement with the moment, light shooting onto the big nerve fiber screen. I'm creating it, seagulls drifting, distant, deeply planted bridge feet, port of Oakland crane towers, white dazzle lineup, behemoth, Trojan horses of trade, waiting tide flats in formation, looming black Mount Diablita tugboat, fireboat, tuna boat, sailboats, crinkle of blue satin, diamond ship glitter, sea spew, resting yet not contained. It's a God-sized scene. And now, forming, recoalescing, walking down the loping twist and curve, I find myself the onlyest she-bhikkhu ever to skip and trip the slot, and ruminating, road-riding Dharma boys, scribbling she-devils and tantric sex goddesses aplenty. Yet I find nary a bhikkhuni, none. And down at the dock on the bay, seagulls hover low and screech and scree at happy couples, babies, jump-ups, arms flapping, screeching, louder yet louder screes as China seamen with old transistor lean smoking, grooving to tinny Hong Kong disco, and all now grooving at the dock on the bay, lapping container ship waves, rhythmic sea slapping, and I say, yes, yes, it's me, the onlyest she-bhikkhu ever, casting self upon Posey's page, the only one so named. Yes, I'm Broadway Hill Boho number 3.
Yeah.
And this book has 30. This book has 33 San Francisco poets in it, a lot of whom you haven't heard of, and some of whom you have. And it's on sale at Friends of the Library bookstores and at the local libraries too, I think.
Just a quick word. Every 2 years every 2 years they run the contest. It's citywide. Every supervisorial district has a contest, and the winners in each supervisorial district, and the runner-up gets published, right?
Every 3 from each district.
3 from each district get published in the anthology. Jack Hirschman is the guy who's nominally in charge, except there's other people. So.
Yeah.
So look for it when it comes by. I've been in that. I didn't manage to get.
You were
to
last
this one.
time. Yeah.
I was in last one. Yeah. Maybe they'd be back. All right.
I want to know how the years smell that day.
Oh, good.
It's a long history. We have not seen this man in a while. We are glad to see this man. He has such a wonderful smile. And if I could think of another word, I'd rhyme it, but I can't, so I won't. He's going to forgive me for everything I was about to say.
Thank you for the introduction.
You're welcome.
If you are interested, I have a few copies of this particular book. It's called United for Human Rights. I'm not sure if you all know how many human rights there is within the human rights. There's 30. I come to learn that very recently, so if you're interested to get a copy, you're more than welcome, because most of us don't know. I can tell you that now. Then there's my CD. If you're interested, I am a poet of love. 90% of my material is based on love. Love between a man and a woman. Real deal, that's how it is. Then, no homophobics here, but just letting you know. Then there's jazz instrumentals. If you're interested, the CD is $15. This is a new piece. I typically don't read from paper because I don't like reading from paper. I like to connect with my audience. So what I'm going to do is very quickly, I'm going to do one piece that's not from paper. Okay? A place without the Kemetic man, a world without fathers affects the outcome of our children's growth. You see, we're needed not in prisons, but instead in our homes, in our schools, in our communities. It is up to us. We must positively show them and teach the children not to be foolish and equip them. See, our women can't do it all. Slavery, drugs, pistols in the hood was your final call. Another one bites the dust, laid out. We're going to stop. We're going to stop. We're going to stop that. It's been a long time coming. Days in and days out, look, I keep on wondering, when are we going to come together? See, it's cold how Comedians were taught to hate each other in our tribe. Truthfully, it was well over 2 years since I last talked to one of my brothers of blood, bones, and sweat. Yet I speak to thee to let some of these words of mine flex your mind. You see, my time from birth on this earth have shown some things. Allow me to give you a bit while we are still getting tossed and turned and
been on ghetto lines. See, my poems, they gotta be strong and on. Not unlike the dead on the mental set in place long ago by Willie Lynch. Isms have never died. See, it's time to rise like the first resurrected Christ. Proper name is I saw. They say Osiris, his sister and wife, gave birth to a son named Haru. Haru's mother's name is Aset. The Greeks say Isis, in case you didn't or you don't know. Look, I speak about those who rose from the east, so when I step to any mic to speak, it's gotta be deep, like the depths of that tsunami. But one moment, please, listen and follow, which brings me to another topic. Let me ask you, is it possible that tsunami, they blame it on Mother Nature, it was an underground rocket, I mean atomic bomb, test your mind, check, boom, that's how the matrix of the Illuminati flex. I come to learn and witness there's only 300 powerful men ruling the world. I got 5 on it. Now place your bet and rise. We're going to stop right there because I want to get into this next piece that I recently wrote. I recently wrote this, and it's for my original material, music that is. So I like to do my material. So what we're going to do is do this. Has the world gone completely mad? Have the greatest creation of all human species lost its way? Today I say humanity, it is up to us, the human race, to look deeper within the soul of your very being and stand up. I say stand up and shout with every breath that you can muster. I refuse to sit back and occupy space, breathe, eat shit, and die. Oh, why my spirit cries out for freedom of these here beasts. It's up to every color and every creed. It's up to every color and every creed to do what's right. I picked up pen, paper to write the facts. I'm tired of these so-called fat cats and their capitalism with propaganda lying lynching machines, and racism is smothering Mother Earth. It hurts my spirit to walk down the street and see people with no shoes on their feet. Concrete is where they sleep, with no food to eat. And every day, thousands upon thousands of people pretend to not see the ridiculousness of the homelessness. And if I dare turn on my television with tells lies to your vision, then I'd be more numbed out to the dumbness of the so-called reality shows that only show more and more and more crap. Here's an example of that direct-to-consumer advertisement of the true minority who is screwing the people's happiness with infomercials telling me that I'm out of control with a mental disorder this and a mental disorder that, to control every aspect of your very being through the DSM, the Diagnostic Statistical Manual on Mental Health. Collaborating with the FTC, the FDA, the pharmaceutical industry. Yes, psychiatry is an industry of death. And the APA, the American Psychiatric or Psychological Association, is strictly pushing pills. And the government on Capitol Hill is only concerned, guess what, with more and more capital, while our babies are being murdered as these psychiatric drugs are causing suicide and people to kill each other. Am I my brother's keeper? Brace yourself, because see, this poem, it's about to get deeper than Moses standing against the tide of the Red Sea. See, Martin Luther King Jr. had more than just a dream. He had a fighting soul that exposed truth to lies and discrimination, like J. Edgar Hoover had spies who tapped into the room of El Haj Malik Shabazz. Yes, you know him as Malcolm X. So ask yourself this question. Am I part of the solution, or am I the problem? Thinking that I cannot make a difference. Listen, it's like this. Each one teach one. It takes a village to raise a child. Society has gone completely buck wild. Stop it. This is not some feeble-minded so-called hip-hop or rap. Even though it's lyrical, my calling is equal stood in the spoken word game. I see ya. I heard it in a documentary called Psychiatry in the Industry of Death that Benjamin Rush was the master bleeder. That's a pretty deep-ass line. I heard it in a documentary that was called Psychiatry and Industry of Death that Benjamin Rush was the master bleeder in the field of mental health, and he's enshrined on the seal of the APA. Damn, that says a whole lot about these killers of today that get away with pushing serious side effect drugs over the counter and into your living room TV screen. Because if you laugh too much, it's a mental disease. If you have too much anything, it's a mental disorder. If you pee too much Oh, well, yes, we got a pill for that too. And the God within you forgot how to tap into your psyche. Just in case you didn't know, psyche originated from Kemet, Africa, and it means soul. I behold truth and expose I and I to the highest state of consciousness. Does all this make any sense to you? As I get even more poetical, my sciences, political words coming into my brain like a child should never know that words, things like special ed classes. That's unethical, because humanity lets me know that I'm on track, and it's way past the possibility that my vocabulary and its impeccability, making sure that the delivery is unmistakably my liability. I know you feel me, and if not, don't blame it on the boogie. Blame it on your incomprehensibility. It's like this. Who taught the black man and woman to hate themselves? Malcolm X said it's the hate that hate produced. Martin Luther King Jr. had a dream, while today we are only experiencing an American nightmare. So I dare you to stand up. I say, I dare you to stand up and fight these beasts. Most times I end my message with peace, love, and freedom. Of these brutality from police against people who look like me, who refuse to cease, because if you think about marching down these streets is going to stop these police from stopping these killers. I say you have to wake up, because that is not going to happen. That's a different game. My name is Sankofa, which means to go back and fetch the roots, wisdom from learning from the past to better your future. Wisdom to learn the future. Some young men between the ages of 16 and 25 told me that they think that they're losers trapped inside of their regal black skin. But I teach them to stop tripping, and that they came from the first beings on the planet. And people who don't like them can't stand it, and that not all white people are bad, and I teach them that not all white people are bad, and I teach them, and I teach them, and I teach them, and I teach white folks that not all black men are bad. Look, I'm good. I grew up in a neighborhood where people were neighbors. Now, it's just a hood. I recall started standing in the lobby and lifted my voice to the craziness of a movie called Django and shouted. No, you really don't want to know what I said. You don't want to know. I see sleepwalkers every day with no knowledge or desire of wanting to unplug. Instead, they're not reading a book. These fools are constantly religiously plugged into negative vibrations. The Bohemian Club is where the rich and famous go to misbehave. Bush is a 33rd degree Mason of death of the Illuminati, as well as alive and kicking, and more up, more up, more up dust. I say truth is what we must do as a human race, regardless of your color and or your creed. Are you part of the solution, or are you part of the problem?
Thank you. All right, thank you, Kenara. Clyde always. He's always Clyde. He's never somebody else. That's the one thing I know about this guy.
Clyde when he feels like it.
Clyde when he feels like it.
Once in a while.
And of course, after him comes myself, then Cesar, then Garrett, then our features of the evening. Tommy Terwilliger will not be here. Said his regrets.
Hello, poets. My name's Clyde Always. My influences include William Blake, Robert Service, Lewis Carroll, and the notorious B.I.G. Oh, before I begin too, I got a little plug for you. This Monday night, coming up the 26th, I have the pleasure and honor of performing alongside the famous Charlie Getter at the illustrious Hotel Rex. So be there or be square. Without any further ado, here it is, a brand new poem I just completed today. It's called The Landlady, and it's by me, yours truly, Clyde Always. It goes. Oh, in my youth I used to tramp the coast of California, and mighty fun it was to camp, though bitter cold, I'll warn ya. So thus I sought a room to let, just something warm and cozy, and otherwise would not have met the lovely Lady Rosie. She ran a humble boarding house, the western side of the city. She'd not a family nor a spouse, but loved a cat named Kitty. Her smile flashed a blinding blur. Her eyes were gray and steely. Her curves were round as peaches. Her demeanor touchy-feely. Now quick the weeks they came and went, and always short on money. So Rosie said, in lieu of rent, "You work for me now, honey." Well, first I hosed her gutters out. I did it fast and steady. Then next she had me lay some grout, and boy, my brow was sweaty. I cleaned her carpet, made it gleam. The whole time I was humming. I poured her puss a splash of cream. She found that quite becoming. But then she sent me on my way, abruptly so and shocking. I packed my bag in time to say goodbye and started walking. These days my youth is gone and dead, and money ain't no issue. Yet still I lay awake in bed and weep into a tissue, and reminisce when to my name I never had a penny, and wonder if she does the same, but tenants had she many. Yeah, I'm sorry. They took offense to that, and I'm sorry if the subtlety of it was lost on you.
Lost on me.
Anyway, another little plug. You'll find this poem published in the poetry issue of Street Sheet this month, alongside two other of my poems, but this one's called Two Balloons, and it's another love poem. It goes like this. Two balloons. A floating balloon fell in love with a tether and danced with her all afternoon. But later that tether went light as a feather. By dawn she'd become a balloon. Now far those balloons are afloat off together, but maybe they're coming back soon. Thanks everybody. Tune in Friday night at Cafe International for the Collido Show.
Wow. You know, after like almost everybody who read it said, God, I'm glad I'm not following that. God, I'm glad I'm not. Well, I have to follow something. So, here we go. I always like to say I like to begin my readings with my favorite political joke. And that would be George W. Bush.
Daddy's little war criminal.
Hey, listen, you know, it's a gift that keeps on giving, just like genital warts. Anyway, another haiku. This is a political haiku before I get into the serious poems. Get ready. It's fast. I'll do it twice because some people go, what? So swift and deft, it cannot be caught. The president's hand rummaging in your pants. Now that's a tax time poem, but it has other meanings now. All right. Enough of that nonsense. Okay. So, sometimes the news shouldn't be read, but sometimes I read it anyway and I forget, and then, you know, I get all... Anyway, this is a poem about a story that happened several months ago. I don't know if you've probably heard about the Ukraine and what's going on there. Not that I've taken any sides or anything, but let me tell you. Anyway, here we go. And then I'll have something nice to clean the palate. How can the dead ever rest? For what must prey upon them still, enticing them to remain connected, unable to let go of life, and so be drawn into our consciousness, while we focus on their death and they call and beg to us invisibly?
in Odessa, their lips gibbered in a blistering breath of prayer for life and resurrection. The strutting naked beast of war left them to their immolations, grunting incoherent, musty, guttural mouthings as they swaggered off, blue eyes piercing, broad nostrils at the flare, scenting up more prey. Stopping only to roar in violent rage, exposing its gory maw. There is no mistaking the crimson stain dribbling from its fat chin to sagging breast. It has the same old hunger and reeks of hate, and its heart harbors a cold will to murder. All while apparently clean hands are simply signing off on snow-white paper. Hands no different from those we hold before our very own eyes. Hands which, in their own way, whether by tax or tithe, go hand in hand with those of fat pundits demanding their pounds of flesh, who believe their colors don't run, whose quislings have unchained this gorgon, this kraken, which, given its head with every ka-ching at the checkout, is encouraged with our taxing, and this thing has been loosed. We hear it's fired up yet another human barbecue in Ukraine, and that the Odessa mob didn't clean up its mess but ran off, leaving locals to cope with the charred carcasses. What kind of men are these who can mob, rail, and storm? What are their crazy-eyed dreams made of? What tales do they tell their children? Why do they, of all people, wear the Hakenkreuz? What kind of woman takes these neo-Nazis to bed? What kind would have them at all, except their own? But we would have them. McCain stood with them, Kerry too, and Eurocrats along with the IMF, NATO, and more. Bankers will have their feast. And for this, they need the beast, which, unleashed, though on lease and indebted, is let to do its thing. No matter our holy book or theirs, yea, verily, we have dispatched it, and this thing in our service has become ours. It's no real secret. Our rulers and theirs know it. And although they say it, we say it, and the dead certainly do say it, we all mean very different things when we say payback will be a bitch.
Yeah.
Okay, and now in the cleansing pellet category. This is not so much a political poem, but it has politically intonated implications. This is my infamous, I would say famous, but it's not, no. The infamous Ode to P. Now everybody knows what P is, and you know what an ode is, so this is the ode. Ahem. Bless this water that has passed through me. Bless this water on its way to the wine dark sea.
No.
May this water catch a moonbeam's glint just so, to shimmer in the eyes of a beauty's ardent face set aglow. Bless it and all the waters with which it flows and blends. Bless that and all the air in which its mingling vapor ascends. Bless, by this means, bless the seven winds which carry it away over the seven seas, to the mountains and farmlands, to every hill and dale, and into coastal fogs, where it precipitates from trees. nor forget sunset with its gleaming prism catching the sovereign's blazing rainbow hues, or in the moon's silvery light plays it at the limb of our pellicle of atmosphere to cast an eerie halo of high, austere, icy delight. Bless this water that once was I, that once was a part of my heart's mind, and I bless this water from the one cup we share. Bless the passing of excess to spare. Yes, blessings pour each drop from the sky to clothe the world in the greenery we espy. Forever a river flows through us within. Thus do I offer unto thee my singular, perhaps overwrought, ode to thee. And a couple of haiku just to leave you with the haiku in mind. Don't like that one. Okay. I'll do 3 and then I'll. This is a true story. I love this one. I saw it, but you'll see it. Okay. Oh, what will he do with it? The ant all over the big green grape. I wondered, I had to just. And you know what a water strider is? Those little bugs that sit on top of the water go bink, bink.
Jesus bug.
Huh?
It's called a Jesus bug.
Jesus bug. Okay, I call it water strider this because that's what I called them when I was growing up. Water strider. Kicks. Rippling the moon. Water strider. Kicks. Rippling the moon. And the last one, which is one of my favorites. In the cleft of clover, single dewdrop gleams. All the sun's circle inside. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And now we have Cesar, then Garrett before our feature. So Cesar Love, come on up here. Where is he? Oh, there he is. Give him a round. We'll adjust the microphone. Now, sorry. All right.
So who's shivering? Nobody? A few people. What's up with the door?
You seem to want it open.
Okay.
Are we really okay?
We usually can close it if we don't feel.
We can close it, then open it. We don't have to have it one or the other. We can just go back and forth. If someone can close it, then we can open it back up and sort of moderate the temperatures. That would be meet with the approval of those people who are here ensconced in the room, and now we'll be quiet.
You want to close?
Yeah, just try closing it, and then we'll, just open it and close it, because the temperature varies, and it's hard to manage. It gets hot, then it gets cold.
Okay, I do have a poem.
Thank you.
So, who out there collects rocks? Oh, all right. Pretty cool. Okay, so this poem's called Rock Collection. Somebody can relate. Okay. I seek escape, not in smoke, not in drink, but in rocks I've gathered. None are pebbles, none are boulders, fewer pebbles. The perfect mass gorges my 2 hands. Hardness is my comfort, solidness my high. A black one brings me to outer space, the purple, a utopian palace. The orange, a feast devoured slowly. A gray, the ferry to oblivion. My come down is softness, but below my pillow there waits an opal. Thanks.
Cesar Love. Thank you. All right, we have Garrett coming up before our features, and Garrett Murphy.
Some years ago, a production of a show called Emmett the Musical Redux was forced by unfortunate circumstances into cancellation before it had even made its debut. Its producer-director has, as they say, joined the ancestors, but hope has arisen in the form of those defenders of the great American free speech, Seth Rogen and James Franco, defender of the right to make humor of the assassination of real people, of color of course, are signed up to try their hands at the roles of J.W. Millen and Roy Bryant in the new version called Interview, in which our heroes, via a mock interview with Lizzie Kaplan, portraying Carolyn Bryant, learned that young Terrell was a diabolical womanizer in training in need of elimination from the mortal plane. They did it to the living, now they attempt to do it to the already assassinated. Another triumph for privileged white male hubris, we mean freedom of speech in American art. Now, if they could only get that elusive Obama to play young Till. Black male special today. Remember when we started out with Trayvon Martin? Now we continue the glorious hunting season known as the Black male special. Law enforcers, police, vigilantes, and more can now enjoy the splendid offerings at Restaurante America. We have the Jordan Davis style car and other cars just separately, the John Crawford III style complete with Walmart plugs and guns. The Eric Garner style comes with our lovingly prepared chokehold squeeze supreme, and for you youngsters, our Tamir Rice Kitty Trust comes with toy gun and other trimmings. These are but a few of our black male special offerings. Inquire today about our daily specials. Brown male and women of color specials also available upon request. Sorry, Charlie Hebdo. You claim that you're a revolution, but well, you know, you claim you want to change the world. You hide behind the Constitution, and well, you claim the right to freedom of speech and artistic expression. As per the fact of the destruction of pride or self-esteem or ethic or yes, your own, all sane folk would and should count themselves out, and ridicule should never be considered all right. Ripper claimed to be a revolution, and well, you know, some would say Spiel was free express. Some dubbed Reagan a revolution, and well, it was said that he wanted us comfortable with our prejudice. But as for the claim that I am, you are, they are, we are, all I can tell you is, no, sorry, I am so not you, Charlie, and the slaughter you all suffered was definitely not all right. You see schoolyard bullies prey on those less than them, using satire as a mask by poking fun at others for immutables that cannot be changed, such as race, religion, or disability. Gifts that keep on giving forever and ever, especially when you are far from the other. And just as, for example, some boys in Epsep with a tiger named Tatiana, they poke and poke and poke and did more poke and poke and poke, till finally the tiger got fed up with it and responded, "One Epsep boy will never taunt again." You wail, but it's just cartoons, making just good clean fun of Muhammad. Where have we heard such claims before? About the time of the little black Sambo, or those in the minstrel shows? Possibly it was the spirit's own Ebony White? Or was it about the so-called Indians? Or maybe the Chinaman? Maybe the Jewish moneylender or mother? Perhaps the commercials of the Frito Bandito? Or the long overdue Redskins? Or perhaps simply all of the above and more? You'd call for the revolution of free speech and artistic expression, but when looking for a symbol such Mr. and Miss Charlie, methinks I'll look elsewhere. For you and your own conveniently forget to consider one paraphrase. With great freedom comes great responsibility. Can is no synonym of should or must, and I'd rather not have folks too comfortable with their prejudice. Too many such people have acted on that comfort, among them Griffith, Wallace, Hoover, Connor, Bobbis, George Zimmerman, Darren Wilson, Daniel Pantaleo, and your colleagues' killers. Killing your colleagues was not all right, and neither is killing one's pride in oneself, even for what you claim to be freedom of speech and artistic expression.
Wow.
Eric Murphy.
All right, we're coming to our features of the evening, Gary Turgeon and Ron Jones. Now, very briefly, these people have been in the Bay Area poetry scene for decades. I saw them at La Promenade, and I had never seen them before. That was my first meeting with them, and I was so impressed. I said, "You guys got to come to Sacred Ground," and they miraculously agreed to do this. And I'm glad you brought your friends with you. They're in for a real treat. I know some of them have seen your stuff before. I know you probably have surprises up your sleeves, proverbially and literally speaking. So I'm going to turn it over to them. Really give them a good hand. These are great, great, great performers. They deserve every clap.
Wow. Wherever you applaud.
Oh, I think we're gonna do something together.
You can get in place over there so we can be ready. I'm gonna clear this off so we have space for your stuff.
Thanks for having us here tonight, and I'm Gary, and this is Ron, and we're going to take some turns, but we're going to do some stuff together. And this first piece is called Context. Context. I live next door to chickens, and below a flock of sparrows that dine at our feeder daily. There are regular visits from crows, hummingbirds, scrub jays, finches, squirrels, even possums, seagulls, and sometimes hawks. Friends' dogs stop by from time to time, and the neighbor's cat likes to prowl the fence. I live above anthills and worms and all the little buggies and creepy crawlers, millipedes, centipedes, and pincer bugs that nest in our dirt and sometimes find their way into my kitchen. And among the many flies and flying bugs, beetles, bees, and butterflies that visit our garden, including mosquitoes, who love me as much as I loathe them. I live across the street from a police station, teeming with cops and robbers, which has a giant antenna tower that landmarks the neighborhood and offers a handy perch for visiting hawks and crows. And only a few blocks from a major university, famous for its campanile and free speech, and for its scientists, some of whom helped split the atom and unwrap the fundamental principles and particles of the universe.
We know,
Giving us a look into the mind of the gods, while providing us the means to unravel all of his and her good works. I live only a couple of miles west of a major earthquake fault that has between 40 and 80% chance of slipping in the next 30 years and destroying much of what has taken 100 years to build, and everything I have in this world with it. I live only a few miles east of a bay, still crawling, despite our best efforts to the contrary, with crab, herring, perch, smelt, sunfish, skate, rockfish, lingcod, the occasional salmon and harbor seals, and above them pelicans, herons, egrets, geese, gulls, ducks, white swans, cormorants, loons, quail, grouses, not to mention sailboats, houseboats, giant cargo ships, oil tankers, and a network of major bridges and tunnels. And a few miles west, I live in sight, from the hills above me, of an unpacified ocean in all its rock-crashing glory, with its many schools and families of fish and sea creatures, from the lowliest krill and kelp to the realms of squid, octopi, and jellyfish, striped bass and halibut, tuna and sharks, swordfish and marlin, sea lions, otters, humpback whales, dolphins, porpoises, and the mightiest of all, the great blue whale, breather of air, mammal, cousin on the family tree. And I live only a couple miles below the heavy gray clouds that threaten us with rain, and a couple more miles below the wispy white ones that promise oceans of blue sky. And I live still much further below the brilliant star of our days, the great and noble sun, dominant, powerful, exotic, potent, virile, ferocious, stark, life-affirming, and giving,
maker of tomatoes and babies, bears and bananas, sparker of life in all things of this planet. And its night sister, the moon, who loves us like a mother, keeper of tides and fertility, whisperer of dreams, soother of nightmares, illuminator of shadows, companion of our darkest hours, reminder that what waxes wanes, and what wanes waxes. And beyond the sun and moon, I live on the edge of a great solar system. 8 planets. 9 if you grandfather Pluto back in. Scores of moons, millions of asteroids and comets, all whirligigging around the sun, who does his own whirligigging through a galaxy of 300 billion other suns, countless planets, countless life forms, swirling like an enormous pinwheel of stars, at the center of which lies a massive black hole, with matter so dense it freezes light and stops time. In a universe of hundreds of billions of like-minded galaxies and their black holes, vortexes amid vortexes amid vortexes, also teeming, I have no doubt, with inhabited planets and life forms too improbable and majestic to imagine. And I'd even suggest, as some scientists do, that alongside our universe is a multitude, perhaps an infinite number of universes, popping up like spring daisies in the fields of forever. And whenever I see the neighbor's chickens, or hear our backyard sparrows sing, it is in this context that I watch them and listen, and in this context that I reflect upon my own nature and place in the scheme of all things.
First of all, thanks for all the previous poets. I really enjoyed some of the work. It's really outstanding. So I will be joined by Ted Field.
Why do I feel like Billie Holiday today? Feeling sad, feeling glad in a melancholy way. War in Afghanistan. I'm looking. That baby's dying, mama, 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 mama's crying. Big business making money in coffins, red, white, and blue. Feeling sad, don't know what to do. Freedom fighters, occupiers, take a stand, ha mama mas. I understand. I see oppressors in the Taliban and our soldiers in the holy, holy, holy land. Blood red oil on my hands, blaming each other, lost in this promised land. Hope is the victim of our lives. Everybody's tweeting. Tweet, tweet, tweeter, tweet, 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 tweeter, tweeter. Thousands of channels to know reality, all about nature on my big screen TV. Being mean to others, it's the game of survival. Easy credit, just shop online. Donald chooses winners. Work will set you free. Get yourself a dinner. KFC. Ice is melting to porno screams. With my PlayStation, honey, honey, I can kill dreams. Homeless in the park, the alleyway, your doorstep under a freeway. Cardboard signs full of pain. Someone's loved one standing in the rain. Plastic chairs, emergency room, fills up with grief, standing room, voice behind a glass wall. We'll see you soon. Oh, Jesus, mister, don't you see my baby, here my baby's due. Preachers in their pulpits, tongues all ablaze, finding Bible quotes, strangers to gaze, stone the homosexual, heretics to burn. One way is truth, only one way to turn. Women in their place, drive out the immigrant, build walls of fear, fire, brimstone, heaven is for the selected few. Fundamental Christian, Islam, or Jew. The end is near. A second coming, nothing to lose, no need to worry. Sky is glass, you can see it falling. Gates of pearl, Vestal virgins trilling. Rapturous glow. Atomic ending.
Sure, we can try it, yeah. This is a new poem of mine. It's called For the Love of Corned Beef. We ate corned beef and mustard sandwiches on seeded hard rolls, a pickle tucked in its waxy wrapping like a sour surprise. The corned beef was salty and warm, the mustard tongue-tangy and yellow. I was almost 5, still simmering in my juices and being salted by my father, who'd bought me the sandwich and brought me to work, to his crystal shop in Jersey City, New Jersey, where he hardly made a living selling china and tchotchkes, salt shakers, pickle jars, carving knives, having returned from the fog of war to the fog of peace, where he'd sired 3 kids in 5 years and opened a shop without knowing the first thing about shopping. Didn't know the first thing about children either, except they had to eat. So he closed the crystal shop and opened a luncheonette 3 towns up, where he made corned beef and mustard sandwiches that seeded our rolls for the next 19 years, and we never went hungry nor lacking of salt.
So we're going to finish tonight by a participatory poem, PP. So the way this works, PP. So the way this works is we're going to cause rain to fall. And it's very simple. All you have to do is think about what rain sounds like. So it might be the tickling of the fingers against the table in front of you. It might be touching the. It might be it might be. But we're going to bring about some rain. Hopefully, we need rain here. So.
Yeah, so we're all just going to make the noise sound like it's raining.
Okay, so here we go. Gary, let's see if we can bring a thunderstorm out. So let's see if we can go to a crescendo of some kind. So we'll start really slow and a gentle rain, and then we'll build up to a thunderous storm, and the clouds will hear us, and maybe, who knows, it might start raining tomorrow. So go ahead, we're going to start off real slow. Just patter, pitter, patter, pitter, patter. Like smiles on faces, this is going to be good. Little wind. You can make wind sounds out there. Oh, nice,
All right,
it rained.
We talked about as much rainwater as we did for this week.
Thanks. You want to try that one, Gary?
Yeah.
Did you want to come to me then, or did you want to?
Yeah. Well, let me just try this one. This is a goofy poem. It's called No Substitute. Did you know the moon is gregarious? That cumulus clouds are full of themselves? That the sun has a shy side, but we don't see it? That lightning and thunder are at odds and have been for centuries, and only still work together because they're contractually obligated? Did you know that oceans get their salt from fish urine? That fish get theirs, nowadays at least, from pretzels and Cheez-Its? Did you know that mountains are generally lazy and let their valleys do most of the work? Did you know that rocks are sensitive and hate being skipped because it tickles them? Did you know trees sleep a lot and are generally gruff and unruly when awake? That rainbows are pranksters and it's really fool's gold they hoard at their ends? Did you know that deserts go to the beach on their days off? That diamonds aren't made from carbon under great pressure for eons of time, but are actually kidney stones passed by gnomes? That these are the kind of things that no one else will tell you, but I will, because there's no substitute for the truth. Okay.
But you should know that we've only done this 3 times, so it's not true that we've been around for centuries doing this.
Well, as
individually,
you've been around for a long time. And to correct myself, I'm doing that publicly now and making my obeisance.
Okay, I'm ready.
This is a bit of a political poem. Pat Sajak of Wheel of Fortune tweeted one day that
He's the greatest intellect of our
global warming alarmists are unpatriotic racists. Pat Sajak. So I wrote this in response. It's called America's Game. If Pat Sajak were a pirate, and instead of giving the wheel one final spin, gave contestants the hook, threatened to jam it into their skulls if they didn't relinquish the 5-night stay in Barbados that they just won in the last round, or the $1,000 gift certificate to nobodygivesashit.com, then it truly finally would be America's Game that it claims to be. Because America's Game ain't no pansy giveaway production. America's Game is, always has been, a pirate's game with a lot of sharp, meat-grinding edges and skin-tearing hooks. Steal from the poor or unwary. Bestow upon the rich or the daring. Throw a few lottery tickets, game show prizes, and coupons down to mollify the masses.
Yeah, keep them down, keep them down, keep them down.
While the host charms the pants off the ladies in the auxiliary.
Think about it.
and assures them this global warming thing is a hoax perpetrated by, quote, unpatriotic racists, unquote. This from someone who should understand better than most that what goes around comes around.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Give him another round. This was like great. This was great as far as time goes. These people, they know their business.
All right, Doug.
As is our tradition, after the features, we take a 5 to 10 minute break so you can schmooze. There are a couple of people had things for sale to check out, and these people may have as well. So stand, schmooze, and when we come back, Sally Love Saunders will be the mini feature and present right after the break. She has transport issues, so we're going to take care of everything. Everyone will be happy, and if you're happy, tell someone you're happy. I'm happy. There we go. I'm happy already. So 10 minutes. Live your life as if you would like to live it.
Ron insists on audience participation.
I want to participate. I want to observe. Well, that's part of your participation. There you go. That is very much, but no real have to do anything.
Hey Bart, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
You're the one that I met over there.
Come on, I want to take that with me.
And out there in the wintertime, you
During the Saturday one.
Rain's tomorrow, I'm going to be really pissed. You're going to be outside. Rain's tomorrow, I'm going to be really pissed. I'm going to be outside. No, there's no rain scheduled. Come on. I know. Well, after tonight,
You're thinking of someone.
You made that inaugural.
Now they're trying to do the rest of like the
before he did some of the, he did, yoke, and then the two of them, just go around and that's when I met him. I told him, yeah, right, you know me. There's a place I could like yeah. And now he's really, I know.
everywhere.
I
they're getting that outside.
I'm trying to get but he wouldn't do it during the actual you know, but it was just a perfect example. So he was Russian. He was a good and then Joe. And yeah, I mean, there's a great script, and then it came out. I was going to bring it it's just like, man, they're going to give her.
It's always fun to try something different. I'm so bored with the stuff I my own jam. Good for you, pal. I can't stand it. I have to be careful with I wish I did it. No, I would say. I love it. You don't like him.
I remember one man show you did, Gary, with Alice Arts, about your life. Like 2 dozen years ago.
It was probably 20 years. No, it was 1997. Very good time too.
No, they have an intermission.
Ladies and gentlemen, if we can have your attention, we're coming back after our break. And I'd like you to join yourselves, and we'll be getting started in just a moment here. Settling. Thank you so much for getting ready. Yeah.
Excellent.
I'll have to get one of these. So this guy passed away, and he makes it up to heaven. And St. Peter meets him and says, "You're here?" And he goes, "Yeah, he's here." And he says, "You know, the other person ahead of you said that he would like to hear people say how wonderful he was." And the person before that guy said, "You know, when they have my celebration for passing, I'd like to hear people talk about how kind they were." And I thought, said St. Peter, I thought I might as well ask you, what would you like to hear people say? And he says, he's moving. All right. Sally Love Song is our mini feature for the evening, and then we have a couple of really good poets after that, so hang out, enjoy, and love life. Now, you're not going to use the mic, are you?
I don't need the
Okay. Yes, she does, and I do. I love it. But anyway, there we go. Sally Love Song, just give her a nice round, please.
I'm still laughing over your point. That was great. Thank you. The sun's rays figuring
the water on the lake. Goes into the ripples, silently moving, my hands flowing over your back. A still lake. We are two identical stars, apart, pinned to separate spots, but giving forth the same light and glow. Twin stars close together, off in our own space in the galaxy, away from the busy Milky Way and changing beyond signs. Together yet apart, the same glow uniting us, connecting also by our own special light. So perfectly entwined are we, two ropes wind around each other, making a bigger and stronger rope. Peel away one, and the rope is weaker and out of balance. Yes. On goes the lipstick and earlier powder and rouge to spark up my poetry, like flowers at a banquet. Boy puppies, yapping, wanting to come to your ears to lick. To be held and taken home. Boy puppies, yapping, wanting to come to you, to your ears. I have a friend who had a suitcase that would hold everything. When we went on long trips, he could become a gallant herdsman or swim in a tiny suit. He had books and toiletries I didn't understand. I, on the other hand, had not one but two big suitcases. We hitchhiked in Ireland and people always stopped, and somehow my big bags would fit into their little tiny cars and off we'd go. Today, as I do, impossible for me to travel light. I plan, practice, and promise myself. Now I have one suitcase, but I have to pay a fortune to check it. And while there, I miss the clothes left behind. I wish so much that I could shrink everything and then blow it up when I get there. Wish I had a pocket big enough for me to curl up into and feel the walls and cracks. A pocket that would shield me at all light and neighbors' noises. Maybe this pocket could rock back and forth as though I was being lullabied by a kangaroo. I always thought that would be great to be in a package. Oh, this one I wrote, I used to have, well, sometimes I still do, a group called Live Poet Society. Remember the Robin Williams Dead Poetry Society? Well, mine's the Live Poet Society. Exciting to be present for the birth of a poem, the expectancy, feeling creative contractions as a baby poem pops into the world, after birth and all. I cheer and I hug the mother poet, exciting to be present for the birth of a poem. Taking a million baths, the glorious golden water from the very full moon showers onto me, cleansing my body and soul, making me very clean. The moon, a magnet. As a toddler, I struggled to the moon. To see the moon, couldn't quite see the moon, taking a moon bath. The glorious golden water from the very full moon showers onto me, cleansing my body and soul, making me very clean. Sitting with pen and paper, my flycatcher for poems to catch and bring to you. Hopefully poems unborn will give birth. Maybe a new poem, like a butterfly, will light on my paper. Vacuum cleaner lady. With great noise and force, you suck in people, resources, again people, into your devouring belly. Phew, the tourists have gone. My Christmas decorations packed and stored away in the attic. Aquatic park is available for residents once again. In a few days, I'll read my poems at Sacred Grounds. I'm a twitter, like getting ready for company or getting ready for the junior prom. Days ahead starring at Sunning Cell. In a few days, I'll read new poems at Sacred Grounds.
That was before your feature, right?
Pardon?
You wrote that before.
Yeah. Memories, golden fishes swimming gracefully in the bowl of clear water, which is my soul. So alive they swim, displaying their beauty. How am I doing on time?
About like 3-4 minutes.
Give me 3 minutes more. I need eggs. I'm told my student poems will be published. Should my mother visit, did that book get mailed? My life, a patchwork quilt. How to form all the pieces into a whole that works. Wouldn't it be nice to live a life that has no eggs to buy, resting on prefab blanket of one color that I ordered from Sears? I'm surrounded by papers, and the phone might lunge. Yet I'm retreating to my bed to write even as the clock stops toward the hour. I must move on to write, to sigh relief. I can write, I do have paper, see? I'm stringing together words on lines, as a necklace maker strings beads on silk thread. I write poems as you pedal down the road away from me. I'm like a crying 3-year-old running after a caravan.
Oh.
You know, I did a poetry workshop once here in San Francisco, and there was a woman that really remembered, she was like way up in her 90s, the stagecoaches going down and running after them. It's amazing. And she remembered all the details about the dust and how she felt running after these stagecoaches.
That's a poem.
I know.
Right there.
Oh,
I thought you just wrote a poem.
no,
Well, the way you did it, it just sounded like you were, wow, that, it was good.
Thank you. Thanks, Richard.
It was like,
You know, it's just interesting because I'm always asking people to write about, their past and what they know. And when someone starts talking about stagecoaches, that's really interesting to me, because I'm just a city girl from the East Coast, and I just love that. Okay. Word pictures. Framed in city window, an all-black hat poised in prayer position. The short punk rock hair on the passing long-legged teenager must have been caught in a pencil sharpener. The wood shivering from the pencil still sticking. Tourists wearing carefully selected clothes augmented their hometown styles, while those whose homes in the streets seemed more relaxed. The wind whipping it all as though an electric mixer, trying to make a bowl of mashed potatoes. High-rise apartment houses, human honeycombs. In the summer when the rest of the world comes here, I think, oh, this is great. I don't have to pack a bag or anything. The world's coming to me.
Another poem.
yeah, it's nice. You don't have to go to France. They're here.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I like to talk to them and find out about where they're from. But I have to pack a suitcase. To be with stillness, to not be afraid, to be very still and quiet. I remember being still on the living room rug, and then, only then, puppies would come and play. So, here I am on the 36th floor. There are no puppies allowed, but there is quiet and music and stillness.
Sally, maybe one more.
Okay. I was told, don't squeeze the rabbit too hard. You'll kill it if you squeeze it too hard. And so even today when I love, I have to remember not to squeeze or hold on too hard, or I'll kill the love. Thank you very much.
There's so many different styles of poetry. They're all short and quiet, but then there's humor, there's serious stuff.
You're next.
Thank you.
All right, now I think Stephanie Manning has left. Is she back there someplace?
No, she left.
Okay. All right, then that brings us to Karen Huff, then Karen Melander Magoon, and then we'll take care of these wonderful prizes designed, as I like to say, with your mind in mind. Karen Huck, give her a nice warm welcome,
Absolutely. The first piece that I'm going to read tonight is by a very young San Francisco writer. His name is Liam Malampy. And Liam's an interesting guy. He's refused to cut his hair for the last few years, other than trimming his bangs. His mom, who happens to be my daughter, looks at me and says, "Ah, hippies, it skips a generation." So about 2 or 3 weeks ago, Liam got this great idea on a weekend, and he set up a little table in front of their apartment building with a sign that said bookstore. And these forms that he had his mom help type up. So what you had to do was you had to put down what the characters' names were in your story, what kind of story you wanted, whether it was an adventure story or a love story or whatever, and he would custom write you a story for the princely sum of $1. So this is called The Shark. It's by Liam Malampy. And you will notice that he has a penchant for blending verse with prose. One day, in the ocean, there was a seal. It had 2 sea dragons for friends. A shark came along. It tried eating them. It succeeded at last. They looked at the inside of the head. It was all greasy and red. They fell down the throat. It was easy to float. They went into the stomach. It was really yummick. Then they went through the small intestine. It was really hard to get through. Then they fell into the big intestine. It was a buzz. Then they swam up out of the shark. Star said, "That was a great adventure, wasn't it?" The sea dragon said, "Yes." So Liam is 5, and I brought him to read it himself, but it's past his bedtime.
It's worth every penny of it.
Get them when they're young.
That's right.
That's it.
He had me with suspense. I was wondering what.
Weather report. It might rain next Tuesday. Darkness feeding darkness underground. Tiny seeds cry out for some promise of existence. Perched, mute, gasping for faded dreams of photosynthesis and glory. It might rain next Tuesday. Students couldn't go outside at recess. Everyone would complain, shrug grudgingly. Yes, we need it, but darkness feeding darkness. Black crayons, inside play. It might rain next Tuesday. Darkness feeding darkness underwater. Barely enough to breathe. And will the fingerlings live to make their treacherous journey out to sea? Return to spend their passion one more cycle? It might rain next Tuesday. Seed drifts from consciousness into wild dreams. Indigo morning glory face to the sun. Chanting spells for herself, the salmon, the child who does not know her world turns on water.
Oh. Karen Huck, thank you so much. And now, the creature closer, Royal Bulldozer, Karen Miller Magoo.
Royal Bulldozer, I love that.
Creature closer, Royal Bulldozer. And then we'll take care of these
barely
fabulous
made it.
You made it.
Yeah,
You're in like
I
Flint.
really thought you'd all be closed and everybody be warm.
We are clothed.
You are closed.
Sorry.
Clothed.
Oh, sorry.
Nice to see you.
We're clothed.
Happy New Year to everybody. I guess I kind of happy old New Year at this point. And thank you, the lovely poetry that I heard when I walked in. I'm sorry about my colleagues that I missed. Feel very guilty about that.
I'm going to vote to it.
I kind of just grabbed out whatever poems I had in the back of the car. So, Shadows of Clouds. I don't know. Well, there's a bad shadow one and a good shadow one. Let's start with the good shadow.
Shadows of clouds resemble shadows of angels, bearing watch, guarding, observing, leaping with angelic grace over hedges, over broods of animals, chipmunks, scurrying wolves, nursing young beneath trees, extending prayers, green prayers into the blue. Shadows of angels resemble spirits of clouds blessing earth, weaving into feathers of birds, cameras of drones, children playing in puddles in mud among toys of scrap, wooden popsicle boats and acorn dolls, twiggy hangers and grassy cribs full of lullabies, ideas. Shadows of shadows, light of light, shining darkness, speaking, singing, night and stars, bombs and bread, death and knowledge, murder and birth, tears and laughter, remembrance, forgetting, pondering, hearts of ages and tomorrow. Shadows of never, shadows of always, intending shadows, of tending shadows, observing hands raised, prayer, supplication, surrender, pleas of hope, resignation, hands of Jesus, hands of Mary, hands of Gandhi, of Mother Teresa, of Martin Luther King, hands of poverty stretched upward for life, stretched upward, don't shoot. Shadows of hands, shadows raised, shining shadows, thousands of shadows of hands raised yesterday, today, Jew, Chinese, Buddhist, Muslim, Christian, Hindu, Indian, Tamil, African, child, old woman, soldier, king, pauper, hands raised, don't shoot. Shadows speak, let this cup pass, if it be thy will, let this moment see justice, see mercy. Shadows of hands, shadows of supplication, shadows of prayer, shadows of fathers, raising their children to the sky for blessing. Shadows of clouds resemble shadows of angels, bear watch, pray for us.
Oh, nice.
This is the sad shadow. That was sort of positive. But there is a shadow on the horizon. The arm of injustice and deception spreads a great dark shadow. We carry candles only to lighten the dark, to shine for emancipation, voting rights, open internet, free speech, end to mass incarceration, death penalty, stigmatization borne by children for lifetimes, incarcerated once for being black or poor. We carry candles, but there is not enough light. Jim Crow still lurks in the darkness. Jim Crow still sabotages minorities, sabotages free speech and voting rights with gerrymandering, profiling, murder, corporate-backed surveillance, while Islam State murders children for being educated. We murder children for being poor, for being black, for being unable to afford an education, for walking in the streets unarmed, for walking downstairs unarmed, for selling cigarettes to pay the bills unarmed. Only 11,501 allegations against city police officers in New York were filed in 2013. Only 7% increase in complaints in 2014. Only an increase. Ironic that police officers hired to protect civilians are trained in Israel to treat civilians as enemies. Where is the power of law? Where is the power of the First and Fourth Amendments to our sacred Constitution? Where is light sufficient to erase the dark shadow of injustice? This goes back to, I went through a period of writing about various tribes in Africa, and this is the Kikiyu. 20,000 Kikiyu killed or disappeared, tortured, raped, castrated with pliers, fetuses destroyed with glass bottles, machine gun against sword as colonialists helped themselves to land, fecund land of the ancestral tribes, pristine, productive, fed by clean water stolen from its owners called the Mau Mau, by colonialists who would prefer to eradicate the tribes, to eradicate the civilization of the Kikuyu of Kenya. Today, tribes seek justice for the wrongs perpetrated 65 years ago. Today, indigenous peoples demand that the story be told, demand the respect due their tribes and people, demand answers, demand their land. Once upon a time, Ugaita began the stories of the Kikuyu. Kukirika ends the tale. Once a tribe of peace, violated by colonial arrogance, now a tribe whose story may finally be heard.
Oh.
And the thing is, this one, well, shall I say any more? Do any more?
Do you have a short one?
Okay, well, I have a short one. It's not powerful. I was just trying to think of something positive to say about Obama because, well, you know, there's so much horrible stuff going, and I keep saying to people, well, you know, he's doing all these things, we just don't know. And so and it's not meant to be ironic. I really was trying to think, he's a good guy. Can't he get it together? Obama knows, it may sound a little ironic, but I hadn't meant it to be that. Obama knows his mandate is to lead a strong but stubborn nation, to follow its own soul, to find its moral compass, to end war, sometimes by knocking at the back door of peace. Almost $2 billion for soldiers and medical help to combat a modern plague, Ebola, in Western Africa. Billions to strike Islamic terror, yet holding his cards close to his chest, to shuffle them for peace. Obama knocks at the back door of peace on the continent of Africa. Obama knocks and knocks and knocks. Okay. Thank you. Good night. Nice to see you. How's you doing? How's your leg?
How's the wife and kids? Oh, well, the wife is good. The kids, we don't know because I don't have them.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, I've been shuffling this cards, and I'm going to ask this kindly person just to cut the deck the sticker cards once. Because like I said at the beginning, if you signed up, you put your name next to a number, and now I have the cards with numbers. And these fabulous prizes will be distributed according to the laws of random chance. The Prince, hey yeah, now I just read The Prince by Niccolo Machiavelli.
Oh, goodness.
Mixed Streets and Mysteries by Marcia Liade. Word Pictures by Sally Love Saunders. Poetry. The Double Book. The Pinwheel Returns a Kiss, and In the Image of Sky by Bob Dewhurst. And then, of course, if you're coming next week, you can pick the keynote opening, which I did, or the mini feature, which Sally Love Saunders did. So a drum roll from somebody, please. Thank you so much. All right, Gary, you are the first winner of the evening. See, I filled up the feature cards.
Gary,
And then Ron, you're next because you are also one of the features. I get to pick. And any one of these fine gifts are yours for the taking. As they say in France, they're yours for the taking. Well, they say lots of things in
There has to
France.
be a last sentence there.
Yes, there was.
But what was there?
Do you know Bob?
No.
Oh, yeah. That's
So,
pretty good.
Also,
Yeah, I didn't even know you were here.
Ken?
No, I don't hear just. Oh, I just hope you're not there.
Do we have Ann Leonard still in the house? Did
Here
go?
she is.
Ann Leonard, you're in the house. You are now a winner.
Oh, yeah?
One of the proverbial winners of the day. And if you wanted to put your email thing on this in case you want to get information about
So
what
I can
do here.
choose like the mini feature?
Yes, you could choose the mini
Oh,
feature.
that'd be fine.
Okay. I'm going to put you on.
One of these.
Yeah, take one of
I
those.
had one from about 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I really did. I'm grabbing.
In a mailing. Sure.
You may already be on it in case you're not.
Oh, I don't think I am.
Okay. Stephanie Manning to the left.
I can see that.
Garrett Murphy. Garrett Murphy.
He's still around.
My goodness. Wow. All the stars out tonight.
Good to see you. Next time. You have a backpack. This is what this backpack is for. You're putting your pocket in. I should not talk like this. These are one of my voices. All right, Karen Melander Magoon.
Oh my.
I had to put your card in case you read.
Up until you, I've always pronounced my name Melander Bagoon, but now I'm trying to change it.
Okay, well, no, I want to say it the way you say it. They're the problem, the lander. See,
Land.
She has told me this many times.
Does this remind
I'm
you of?
trying to change it, because a lot of people like it.
Yes.
Yeah, but it should be said the way you say it. Oh, unless you want to change it, it's up to you.
You got to remember it.
That's me too.
That stuff is really outstanding. That was the last one.
If you can make it, you should make it.
Somebody's already done that. Open companies.
You get like 3 or 4, but it's a poem that somebody else wrote, and then you can be in the open as well as.
Right, yeah, I'm just
And
not
good
sure
thing.
about
It's sort of a scene. You guys,
That's how they look so.
That's a community.
Do you like this?
Yeah, there's some good things.
I mean, this I know I can get on.
I don't know, you really get angry. I think Zach is gone, unless I'm wrong.
That
Cesar.
Yeah, sure does. Could be. Might be more than one.
Karen Huff. One of these 4 or 5 prizes can be yours.
Yeah, this is online in
Oh.
several places.
Dan, can I interrupt and
Yes,
tell
you can.
everybody?
You
Tell
already
everybody.
did. What do you mean,
Oh,
can
I'm
I?
good at that.
Thank you.
The third Monday of every month, we're trying to do Pat's poetry. Anne has been very loyal. She's been the last 2. There have only been 2. The next one, John Curl will be the featured poet. And I'm trying to maybe do double features.
Is
so
that the one that's on here?
I don't know. Anne says it isn't.
I
so-
don't see it, it's on the third Monday of each month.
Third
Can you
Monday of
tell
every
me about
month.
that?
So the next one will be February 16th. We just had one January 19th for Martin Luther King Day.
When Clara was the feature the time before,
Yeah, I
Dee
think Dan
Allen.
knows that. And we got you, Dan, on the April or something like
Did you say
that?
it's the 3rd Monday?
May, maybe you're May. You're April.
Third Monday.
So what is this thing?
Oh, it's not on this one because this was printed out old.
Oh, okay.
So it's on the new one.
I'm just sort of saying that for the world at large. I know we're the opposite end of the world, but if you can come, we're kind of fun. It's a nice
Matt.
coffee shop and
Is Matt still here?
intimate gathering.
Where is it?
Pat's on Taylor, it's in North Beach, on Taylor, just north of Columbus.
Owen, I know you're here.
Between,
Right a block from the cable car turnaround.
and actually,
And then Richard.
yeah.
Francisco.
You're a winner.
I'm a
whiner.
Water.
You're a whiner.
Francisco, I mean, Taylor.
So you have
It's
did I
also chestnut.
See, now you have 2 choices. You can either take this.
It's right where the
or
cable
come
car
back next
crosses
week and do a
Columbus
first
and goes to
open
the
turnaround.
If I Google it, it's on Pat's
Well, no, this is not a feature. This is
Pat's
come out with
Cafe.
somebody else's
Pat's
poem
Cafe.
as the keynote
Even if
opener
you-
thing.
Oh,
So you can do that if you
It's
want,
not
or
Pat's, you probably
these are the
Well,
ones.
I'd write that.
This? But you still should email so I have. All right, I want to thank everybody for coming. Give yourself a big round of applause if you enjoyed yourself, enjoyed somebody else. Had a nice time. I want to tell you we'll be here next Wednesday, every Wednesday, same bat time, same bat station. Next week we have an organization or a group called Giridon, and they're amazing. The woman's an amazing dancer, singer, poet, everything, and the guy is just like, looks crazy, but he's really beautiful, a great artist in his own right. It'll be wonderful, so come on back. We'll have a great time. Thank you so much. Still long. Well, no, but you can't.
So Bart,
Okay, so
baseball.
Oh,
Well, when you do, Joe would like to know. The Bucks gonna be $1 million each, right?
Okay, so you're still the right way. You'll be here and you got about 3 or 4 minutes. It's a poem of somebody else that you really absolutely love, and then you can also sign up for the alternate. Whatever.
I'll give you a ride.
That's great.
Well, hey.
Thank you, Karen.
Thank you, and thanks for letting me.
Good to see you. Getting a 5-year-old to think that's good.
This pen is this. Did somebody leave a nice pen?
Thank you so much. Now, so somewhere this later on, if you want to come back and do another feature, we can work it all out. That'd be fun. That'd be fun. You will talk, email, you did email, right? So good. So good. And where's that other guy? Now, you too. Really great.
I believe you'll see later on now. We just have to, that's it. That's not.